The piece of fabric came from Kirumi's black glove.
Hey. Karumi's glove.
If the culprit were slowing their descent by grabbing the rope with their hands, there would have been a lot of friction, easily enough to cause rope burn. But our culprit was smart. They weren't burned because they weren't barehanded.
Yeah, the culprit had gloves on. One got all torn up from the friction and...
And it fell into pool?
From what I remember, the only one who wears black gloves is Kirumi, right?
The glove's on your hands now. I take it there from your door. The extra uniforms in our rooms are made of the same material we're wearing now. We can test my theory by comparing the fabric scrap with your glove.
Well, Kirumi? Will you allow us to compare the black fabric we found in the pool with your gloves?
What's the matter? Why are you sweating so much? Karumi, what's wrong?
Closing argument.
The victim's body was found this morning during Himiko's underwater escape act. Yeah.
I'm going to drown myself, yeah.
I'm going to eat these piranhas before they eat me. When we saw the piranhas in the tank, we thought Himiko's escape failed. Of course, it was all part of the act. Himiko's escape went perfectly. But when Angie opened the curtain in front of the tank, we saw Ryoma with the piranhas swarming around him. Before any of us could react, the piranhas devoured Ryoma's body. And all that was left were his bones and the handcuffs he was wearing. Look at Tenko.
The vibrator!
Look at Kibo, look at Kibo, he's like,
whoa!
Tenko had the vibrator in her ass, but but Kibo had the trigger.
Kyo's like, what's going on? I'm not looking.
what is going on?
That horrifying sight was the finishing touch on the culprit's own twisted magic trick.
You see Shuichi in the top going brah?
The culprit...
Shit!
Jesus Christ. Well, it doesn't matter. I didn't know how to pronounce that word anyways.
Obfuscated.
Habituated.
Obituary, yes. In truth, the crime began last night around 8:55 p.m. While preparing for the show in the gym, the culprit had a chance to be alone. It was then that the culprit used the ladder to reach the piranha tank.
Piranhas get a little freaky on Friday night.
Hey yo, the Friday night
had
is
one of those up
funky.
her butthole. And removed the glass lid to put inside the tank. They used it as a partition to force the piranhas to one side of the tank. Next, the culprit took the rope from the stage wing in the gym. And used the ladder once more, this time to climb up the gym's window. Once there, they opened the window and tied one end of the rope to the window frame. The rope was then thrown out the window toward the pool.
E.
These preparations were key for the culprit's elaborate plan. I love how when Ryo was walking, his like little ears on his hat just like flop up and down.
Yeah.
At nighttime, past midnight, the culprit asked Ryoma to meet at his lab. All the pieces were in place. The culprit was ready to murder. Hey, I heard someone calling me. Holy shit! First, the culprit knocked Ryoma out, probably striking him from behind.
Time for me to use my Shakuka!
Oh no, I better use my shoe. They'll never catch me when I use my shoe. Then they put the handcuffs from the shower room on Ryoma's wrists.
I pinned them up against the wall.
Against the wall, you got not into the sink. And shoved his head into the sink filled with water.
I just noticed that she's got the gloves in her mouth. It's like, oh! They're my scrim blow.
From the water and the pain of drowning, Ryoma should have woken up and struggled.
This is what I look like whenever you guys spam hydrate in chat, by the way.
So true. The culprit anticipated his resistance, which is why Ryoma was handcuffed. The struggle left scrapes on the cuffs and sink, but in the end, Ryoma succumbed. Ryoma was dead, but the culprit's plan had only begun. I can imagine in Ryoma's final moments, this was the only thing he could hear.
No!
Yeah!
After making a hanger of sorts with another length of rope tied to the inner tube, they hung the inner tube on the rope connecting the windows. That's how the culprit created the ropeway that was used to move the body.
Or a zipline, but whatever.
Zipline, but let's make it complicated, because why not? An impressive premeditated murder, but the culprit made two crucial mistakes. Kick! The culprit got onto the tube with Ryoma's body and slid toward the gym. No!
Woo!
Oh, no, this is whoa! Oh, woo! With the height difference between the windows, they would have built up quite some speed. To avoid crashing through the window, the culprit used a brake. They used their own hand to grip the rope and slow down. That would have caused significant rope burn, had the culprit not been wearing gloves. But due to the friction, part of the glove was torn off and dropped into the in the pool, not in the window. God, all I have on my mind is windows now. It's the amount of time. Regardless, the culprit reached the window and put Ryoma's body into the piranha tank.
We'll never forget Saki Taxi.
The glass pane not only kept the piranhas and the bodies separated, it also kept the piranhas so close together they concealed the body. After that, all the culprit had to do was untie the rope in the inner tube. But that's when they made their second mistake. One end of the rope came loose, and the inner tube dropped into the pool. Thus, the culprit was forced to leave two key pieces of evidence, the fabric and the inner tube. They couldn't retrieve the evidence because of the rule against swimming at nighttime. And that's the whole story. Am I wrong, Kirumi Tojo, the ultimate maid? Oh.
How did the image go hard though?
Yep.
Kirumi, that's the conclusion I reached. Do you have any objections?
This is very, very unfortunate, Shuichi. My pride as a maid demands that I fulfill every request that I receive. But to end like this...
Does that mean you admit it? Kirumi.
Why use your own gloves, though? The warehouse should have had plenty.
There weren't any. Obviously, she would have used them if they were available. Jeez, Monokuma provided everything but the gloves. That's pretty sadistic. But thanks to him, at least the game became way more interesting.
So, it's decided. Well, Kirumi, were your feelings towards her simply another falsehood?
No! It can't be! Say it ain't so! That was just another lie, too?
I don't think so. I still believe Kirumi cares about us. And how would you know? I can't say for certain, but I can sense that this trial has been agonizing for her.
You can't say for certain, hmm? That is what a detective would say.
Kirumi, are you upset? Because of the people important to you?
You mean from the motor video? So Kirumi watched hers after all.
Earlier, Kirumi mentioned that she had accepted a request. Perhaps that request came from someone important in her motive video?
That is kind of like a weird line. From someone important.
Perhaps the request came from someone important.
Came
Okay,
from
I'm
and someone. Yeah, no, that's definitely a typo.
Yeah, it should have been an important
James
someone.
Bond strong. James the
Or just
Strong.
someone important. Do you have nothing to say for yourself?
No, that's not it. I'm just lost. Because if I tell you why I did it, you will regret what you've just done. Your reasoning was exactly right. The reason I murdered Ryoma was because of what I saw in my motive video.
As I thought, you did indeed watch your video.
That means someone broke the agreement and treated you your motive video? Alright, fess up! Which one of you did it? Close your eyes and raise your hand if it was you.
Why would the one raising their hand need to close their eyes?
That won't be necessary. I do not trade my motive video with anyone.
Huh? If you didn't trade it with anyone, how'd you see your motive video?
Perhaps Kirumi received her own motive video.
Huh? Mean she had her own motive video from the start?
Correct. No one had my motive video but me, the video's intended recipient. I have no idea why.
That's not possible! Monokuma, what the hell's going on?
You know, I meant to bring this up earlier, because it's been bugging me for a while. All this talk about videos being switched, what does that mean exactly?
Don't play dumb. You're the one who switched up all the motive videos.
No, I didn't.
Huh?
Mono Fanny?
I didn't do anything.
Monotaro?
didn't do it.
Oh, was I not supposed to ask that? Did you Crubs screw up again? Hmm?
Two Crubs.
Crubs?
I see. The Moda Cubs merely distributed the Moda videos at random. Receiving my own video was nothing more than bad luck.
So you just watched it without knowing why it was given to you?
What was in your video?
Well, you promise you'd tell us everything.
All right, back by popular demand, it's time for the Moda video. Who's the most important person in your life? And now, without further ado, Kirumi Tojo, the ultimate maid. With clients in politics and finance, this elite maid is renowned for completing any request. One fateful day, she was suddenly summoned by one of her most influential clients, the Prime Minister.
President.
The Prime Minister had a request of utmost importance. He requested that she use her talent as the ultimate maid to serve her country. He asked Kirumi to make this country great again and transferred all his authority to her.
Oh my god.
No one suspected that the Prime Minister's new secretary was secretly running the country. And over time, she became the de facto Prime Minister. Only Kirumi could save the country from impending doom. Yes, the future of the country rests entirely on her capable shoulders. But Kirumi is up to the task, for she only accepts requests that only she can fulfill. She is driven by the belief that her citizens are the most important people in her life. Oh, and while we're on the subject of those important people, an unfortunate event will soon befall those vermin and sheeple. What event, you ask? It's a secret! Find out for yourself.
I am Kirumi Tojo, the ultimate maid, and the most important people to me are the citizens of this country. I was called upon to lift the country out of a dire situation. I swore to serve and help all its people. As the ultimate maid, I have advised politicians many times in the past, but he wanted me to prioritize saving the country from an unprecedented crisis. I fully accepted this request. As a maid, it is a great honor to serve the nation itself.
I was aware of Kirumi's impressive talents, but Prime Minister...
Then Kirumi really is Prime Minister? Is she the whole burden of the country's future? The motor video aside, Kirumi doesn't seem like she'd lie about something like that. Hey, I get that Kirumi is really important, but what was that unprecedented crisis?
I don't know, actually. Why can't I remember?
With our memories lost. Wait, isn't this just like the Ultimate Hunt?
Perhaps it is connected to the ultimate hunt.
The Ultimate Hunt is connected to this unprecedented crisis facing the nation.
If that's true, how are they connected? What is this ultimate hunt anyway?
I do not know what is happening to the nation while I am here, inside the end wall. That is why I needed to know. I needed to know that the most important people in my life were safe. Because I am duty and honor bound to protect every citizen of this nation. That is why I needed to escape.
So you weighed our lives against the lives of everyone else in the nation.
But if those are the options, of course you'd pick everyone outside, right? There's just too many lives at stake out there.
And we stopped Kirumi from doing that because we selfishly wanted to live. What should we do? Did we just make a terrible mistake? If everyone outside dies because Kirumi is dead, doesn't that mean we pretty much destroy the country? What do we do?
Say, what's Monokuma planning to do with the rest of humanity? You know how many people live in this country? Like 100 million, easily.